Every successful virtual tour professional will tell you to shoot your 360 virtual tour with a DSLR or mirrorless digital camera instead of a small sensor action 360 camera like the Insta360 X3, the 1RS 1-inch 360, or the Theta Z1. They are absolutely right. Shooting with a DSLR with a fisheye lens like the tutorial right here, it's not easy. It requires your camera to be vertical on an expensive Nodal rig like the Nodal Ninja 6 or the Nodal Ninja Mega, as you see right here. It usually requires you to take 6 shots for one location, and they are heavy to move around and travel with. They are also very expensive. Most of you are probably not a photographer who own a full-frame camera. So today, in this HDR Virtual Tour Masterclass, I will present you with an alternative solution that allows you to shoot professional level 360 photo with APS-C or MFT sensor cameras on any tripod with 2 shots instead of 6. If you're new to the world of professional virtual tour and you want to take better 360 photos to impress your clients without investing in Nodal rig or expensive photo gear, this is the tutorial for you. Let's dive right in. Hey, what's up everybody? It's your boy Hugh here. Welcome back to another overdue episode of 360 Virtual Tour Masterclass. Recently, because of the marketing push of Insta360, a lot more beginners are interested in getting into the virtual tour business, and I am here to help you. If you watch my review video here and here, you know the only Insta360 camera that is remotely capable of virtual tour quality is the Insta360 1RS 1-inch 360, which is $800 US, still pretty pricey investment. Ricoh Theta Z1 is over $1,000. But most of you probably already own a consumer point and shoot camera like the Sony 8000 series or the Sony VZE-10 or Fuji X-T series or the Panasonic GH5 or GH6. APS-C or NFT sensor camera are cheaper, usually under $1,000 range, and a lot smaller. They take amazing professional quality photos, and that is probably why you have them at the first place. And you can absolutely use them to take better 360 photos. All you need is a super fisheye lens like right here, the Laowa 4mm f2.8, or better, the brand new Artisan 4mm f2.8. If you watch my original HDR Virtual Tour tutorial here, you know I use a very complicated Nodal rig which costs over $1,000 with APS-C sensor camera and a 225-degree fisheye lens. You don't really need any of them, you just need a lightweight tripod with a built-in 360 panel head. The key to this minimum setup is the super fisheye lens. There are only 4 options in the market that is under $1,000. The Laowa 3.5mm right here, the Izuka 220, and the Miki 3.5mm, and the new 7Artisans 4mm. Both the Izuka and the Miki do not support APS-C camera, so we only really have 2 options. I used the Laowa for the past year, mostly for VR 180 filmmaking on the Zcam K2 Pro, like this film shot on the Laowa. Laowa 4mm has a distinct vintage look and color that I really love on filmmaking, but not so much on 360 Virtual Tour. Then I upgraded to the 7Artisans 4mm f2.8 recently, and I never go back to my Laowa, at least on 360 Virtual Tour. This is an unbiased review, and I never trust what the manufacturing website regarding the specs. So I asked Yost from PTGui to help me measure all the real specs. Here is the lens profile. The focal length is 3.8mm with a theoretical 4mm. The horizontal field of view is wider than 225 degrees, making it the widest super fisheye out there, beside the Antennae How 250, which costs over 10,000 US dollars. This is really good news for 360 video and 360 photo. But one thing I do like more about the Laowa right here is the aperture ring. As you hear, the Laowa, the aperture ring has a clicks, but not in the 7Artisans. So it's really hard to nail the exact f-stop. Now let's do an aperture and sharpness test. Here we have photo shot on the 7Artisans and f2.8, f4, f5.6, f8, and f16. They all have the full fisheye image in APS-C sensor camera. At f2.8, there is a very minor vignetting around the edges. It will affect your 360 stitching and 2 points nodal shoot, so be mindful of that. Better to shoot 3 nodal points to avoid that problem. Let's zoom in on the center to check sharpness. Surprisingly, they are all really sharp, even in wide open f2.8 aperture. This is gonna be really good in low light 360. There is one exception at f16. Diffraction starts to kick in and the whole image is slightly softer than the others. Not terrible though, and still very usable. If you don't understand what is diffraction and how it affects fisheye lens, please refer to this tutorial right here. If I have to pick the best aperture, I will say f5.6 is the sharpest on this lens. Now let's check the edge sharpness in the same condition. Again, the result is also pretty consistent. I noticed at f4 the edge sharpness is not as good as others. This happened to TT-Artisan 7.5mm and the 7Artisans 7.5mm as well. You also notice pretty bad chromatic aberration on all aperture. This is one of the major drawbacks to using a super fisheye lens. There is a way to avoid that in post-production, which we will discuss in the PTGui section of this tutorial. Now let's do a Sunstar test. For the 7Artisans, Sunstar will appear at f5.6 but get pretty obvious past f8. Also, the Sunstar is pretty messy. My Laowa lens right here will have Sunstar even at f4, hint the vintage look. So if you are looking for that artistic vintage look from a fisheye, then Laowa is a pretty good choice. Laowa will also add a cooler and purple look on the color rendering. 7Artisans, on the contrary, is pretty close to the real life reality, accurate color. Flare resistance. Lens flare is a big issue on all fisheye lenses. Luckily, this 7Artisans fisheye is pretty good at flare resistance compared to the TT-Artisans I reviewed it earlier. It has a very artistic flare that is minimum and pleasant to look at. It does has the red dot of death if you point directly to the sun, just like the Insta360 camera. But other than that, flare handling is excellent and images are sharp under the direct sun. Great lens for outdoor virtual tour and landscape 360 photographers. So now let me show you my setup. And this is my professional DSLR setup right here. As you see, it's a 360-degree panel head right here. So here the camera, I actually do not own an APS-C sensor camera because I use professional camera. So here is the Sony Alpha 1, but it has the APS-C mode, so you can switch to turn into an APS-C filming camera and use APS-C lens right here. And here is the 7Artisans 4mm f2.8 lens. Right here is on the Alpha 1 right here. So let's talk about the lens. First, let me just take it out. Hopefully you see it. Right here. So the lens itself have the focal ring right here. So you can focus on it. And then have the aperture ring right here. And there is a little stick right here, the little stick right here allow you to easily adjust the aperture ring. And aperture go from, see, 16 to 2.8. It's very simple manual lens, right? And it's very tiny, look at that, it's so tiny. And it's just above the handle, so the handle is not in frame, but it's so tiny, allow me to have a pretty tight, no parallax point. And that's what this minimum setup is possible right here. In here, we have a tripod, a special tripod that I love. Again, you can use any tripod as long as it have the infinite 360 degree pan head. That's all you need. And what I have here is the United and Coleman F38 quick release tripod review right here. It is the best travel tripod I ever owned it. It's so light, so easy to travel around. It's great for 360 outdoor virtual tour and just virtual tour in general because you can just move it like that, very easy. And on top of that, let me just show you. Right here, we have a quick release. So the F38 quick release is mounted into a little like clamp right here. It's an orchestrate clamp, but it has a degree. It has a range of movement. It's tiny, but that's enough to move around the camera. So I mount it together so I can just mount it really fast using a quick release system. You can do it in even one hand. It's pretty crazy. After that, I can see that my camera right here is just a standard orchestrate plate. I mount the screw all the way to the end, so I know exactly like this is my point and there is my no parallax point. So basically all fisheye no parallax point is about like right here, especially for the really wide one. For this one, it's around right here. I can just guess it. Again, if you need to scientifically find the no parallax point, check out my in-depth tutorial right here. And after you find it, you can mark down in the plate right here. So every time I can look at the plate and I can just slide the thing in. So other thing is there's a screwdriver height inside this tripod. If this is loose, you just need to tighten it up directly right here. Right now, it's so easy, so convenient, it's so fast. So now you just need to mount the plate in here, just slide right in, and there in the distance you can move around to really find sideways to really move around and find a no parallax point. And because I mark it down, I know the no parallax point is around right here. The lens is right here, turning point is right here, so it's around right here. So I mark it down right here, just need to like lock it. And also have a bubbler right here to make sure that it's level. Boom. Now we build a nodal head to shoot 360 degree virtual tour. It's that easy. So if you want to take the camera out, let's say that you're going outside, you're shooting outdoor virtual tour, which is this setup built for, is shooting like really nice scenery virtual tour. You can really see travel around. But if you want to travel or take the camera out, because thanks to a quick release system, I can just put this entire thing over here, put a lens cap on, then that's it in a backpack. When I'm ready to shoot, I slide right in. And everything's still locked. It's still in the correct no parallax point. I'm not touching anything. Now I can just film. So now let me teach you how to shoot it. It's also very easy. Again, I always recommend to use manual mode, don't auto mode. And really, as you see, like just find the EV point. I'm taking 9 HDR bracket photo. I always take HDR for virtual tour because indoor environment, outside is bright, inside is dark. Unless you have light, you're gonna have a color difference. So you want to capture every single detail in any exposure, merge them in post to get the best magazine result. And so even I'm shooting with the 1RS, I'm still using HDR. So this is my workflow because I do a lot of tutorial on HDR Virtual Tour. If you need more information, again, check out right here. So I'm taking 9 bracket HDR on this camera. So first, I lock in here because now it's 0 degree. So by the way, there is a degree on this like luminosity Coleman head, and you can see it right here. When I get the 0 degree, I lock it down. Now it's not turning. So now I'll shoot the direction right now, right? So go ahead and hit capture. After capture, it count down for 10 seconds because whenever I hit shutter speed, the whole setup might shake depending on how you push the button. So I usually give myself a 10 second buffer to make sure the whole system set up so there's no vibration on the setup. And also, as you see, like it's silence. I use silent shutter instead of like mechanic shutter to just, two reasons. First, mechanic shutter might also causing shaking on the whole system. The second is I just want to be quiet so I'm not annoying my client when I'm working on set. So this direction to take. So now I just need to unloose this turning knob, turn 180 degree point to the other direction, lock it again, and hit shutter again, and wait until it finishes capture. It's that easy. So that is a minimal setup. After you graduate from that level, if you want to have even more detail, better stitching, better merging, you can upgrade from 2 shot to 4 shot. So 4 shot is one right here, one in 90 degree, one in 180 degree, and one in 270 degrees, and then back in here. If you take 4 shot, that will give you the best quality panel. That definitely gonna be better than this guy or any 1-shot camera, because now you have 4 shot merge them together, even in an APS-C sensor. So that's that. And other advantage using this setup is because when you're taking a photo, you're not capturing this side, and you can use a light right here to really light up your environment. So why not shooting me? There is a lantern light right here, and this is actually perfect, giving a really soft diffuse light to lit up the environment. That's actually what I use for virtual tour. I put it behind the camera, lit the environment, so make all the furniture look like super polished, magazine look like. Take the picture, and then I turn it, and then I move the lantern light to the other side. Lantern light can be USB, can be PD power, so it can power by battery, so it's very easy to use. I'll give you the brand later. And then I'll shut the light shine this way now. I took a picture on here, and then both sides is evenly lit, well lit, and then immerse in post and give you a very polished magazine look of the virtual tour photos. And this is my general setup right here. For virtual tour creators, what we care about the most is the 360 image quality. We shot a test between the 7Artisans on a Sony APS-C camera, Insta360 X3, and Insta360 1RS 1-inch 360. Let's compare the result. First, we have Insta360 X3 in night bracketed HDR. The resolution is only 5952 by 2976. X3 regular photo reached 8K, but if you watch my X3 review right here, you know that 8K is probably not real 8K. Look at it side by side. The 8K photo also has pretty bad color rendering compared to HDR rendering. Rule of thumb, you always shoot HDR for virtual tour. Second, we have the 1RS 1-inch 360 in night bracketed HDR. Both details and color, 1RS 1-inch look way better than X3, which you know that already. Third, we have the 7Artisans APS-C. Let's put them side by side. At a glance, X3 and 1RS 1-inch look sharper than the 7Artisans result. But don't be fooled. Sharper never means a better image. Let's zoom in on the center. In terms of color, X3 look really dull and lifeless. 1RS 1-inch is okay. 7Artisans look really vibrant and is pleasing to the eyes. Let's zoom in on the distant plane before the glass door and trying to match them into the same size. It means I will need to scale the 7Artisans result more so than the 1RS 1-inch to get the same size, because a 1RS 1-inch has a larger resolution than the 7Artisans. Take a look. X3, you can't really tell what that is. It is very bad and unusable. 1RS 1-inch 360 looks sharper than 7Artisans, but it does not look better. The pixels are really blocky and has over-sharpening aliasing issue. It does not have as many detail as the APS-C result. And this is a very, very important point I'm trying to make. Higher resolution does not always mean the camera captures more information. In the case of small sensor camera, the higher resolution is probably after some smart in sensor denoising, sharpening, and upscaling into that resolution. During that process, the original image is losing lots of detail information. That is that famous security camera look in action 360 camera. You can't really get rid of it. To really prove my point about how aggressive Insta360 sensor is removing information, I know in the distant tree is an orange tree in my backyard. This is zooming in over 1000%. 1RS 1-inch is a blurry mess, but on the APS-C, even in over 1000% zoom, you still can see the orange dots on the tree. Let's zoom in on the focus chart on the side of the lens. Again, X3 is unusable as it is losing half of its original colors. 1RS 1-inch 360 is sharper than the 7Artisans result. Also, If you look at the stitch line area, 7Artisans has chromatic aberration problem. But all of this can be easily fixed when you graduated from 2-shot front and back nodal point to 4-shot nodal point. Basically, take 4 photos every 90 degrees. Then you get a higher resolution image with the same scale as 1/1 inch 360 camera right here. And it also removes most of the chromatic aberration problem. The APS-C result is always gonna look a little bit softer than the Insta360 result because of no sharpening added in post-processing. I think it looks more natural to the eyes. But if you want to achieve that same sharpness as the Insta360 camera result, you can always add sharpening in post using Topaz Sharpening AI or Topaz Photo AI. Let's do the math. APS-C camera, if you own one, the 7Artisans lens is only $149. You turn your APS-C camera into a 360-degree virtual tour camera that shoot better photo than Insta360 1/1 inch, which is $800. And a 1/1 inch cannot shoot 2D photo or vlog video in 4K in the same image quality as your APS-C camera. So yes, it is cheaper and you don't need a 360 camera to shoot 360 virtual tours or 360 videos. More on that later. The only downside of shooting with the APS-C camera with a super fisheye lens is post-processing. But trust me, it is easier than you think with stitching software like PTGui. Let me show you now. First, go ahead and open a PTGui and then go to the folder. You should have 18, 9 of each raw photos. Drag it into the PTGui. So PTGui, this is the HDR photo. So go ahead and enable HDR mode. Select the first option, hit OK. And now we have front and back 2 photo, and PTGui already merged them for you automatically. It's very convenient. The next step is going to lens setting right here, and go ahead and load this preset. And don't worry, I'm gonna provide the template for you to download in the description down below, and you will have that. But if you don't have that, just pause the video and write all this down, and that's the lens profile for the 7Artisans 4mm f2.8 fisheye lens right here. So after that, very important step, make sure your camera is not 1x, that's full frame sensor, it's 1.67 crop for APS-C sensor. And then now go back into here and go ahead and align image. And it should align for you. Just level it real quick. There's an easy way to level it, by the way. Go to find a vertical line of your scene right here, which is the wall right here. Hit 1 and then hit the bottom. And then find the other side right here. Hit and find the middle point right here. Is this wall. Tap 1 and tap the bottom. So now we gotta align with the vertical line. Go back and run optimizer. Very good, amazing. Let's go ahead and go to panel editor. Now everything is aligned perfectly and achieve perfect level panel photos. That easy. Now go on, either use tonal mapping or exposure fusion, and depending on what you like better for the HDR merging on the PTGui. Again, you can play with all this setting in here. As you see, you just increase or minimize the HDR effects. After you get your perfect result, go ahead and hit create panel. As you see, if you only shoot front and back 2 panel, the max resolution of my current setup, my current APS-C camera, will only get me to 6K panel. So go ahead and output the TIFF file. Make sure that you are in 16-bit. No compression, so I get the best quality TIFF file right here. And then just go ahead and create panel. If you use 4 panel point, 0, 90 degree, 180 and 270 degree, the workflow is exactly the same. Instead, you will have more raw file. You will actually 4:9, 36 individual raw file, but you can just drop them all off into PTGui. Again, enable the HDR mode. Boom, and turn into full picture. Again, same workflow, go to list data. Go ahead and load the 7Artisans right here. Make sure it's 1.67 crop for APS-C sensor. Now go ahead and align the image. So if you shot 4 times, it will even auto level it for you by PTGui. So it's really powerful. In here, I don't need to use the blending mode, so I turn off optimal stem. Turn it off. So I got a more even split of all 4 lenses. You see kimchi right here. Again, if you want to look at the photo, you can hit this icon right here. And then you can look around. Actually, let's use this one. That's the proxy mode. So that will render faster. And you can look at the image before you render out. And look at the ceiling. It looks perfectly. That is just the line. That's not the image that's generated by PTGui to help you to align. So, same process. I will turn on exposure fusion right here and do the HDR. And you can even add saturation right here in post. Really play the setting to really get the look you like. More HDR, less HDR. So you can really adjust that right now, right here. When you find your best setting, like right now, you can just go ahead, minimize this, go ahead and create panel. It's the same thing. As you see, if you take 4 shots, you actually get 6.2K. This is actually almost the same resolution as Insta360 1RX 1 inch, actually slightly bigger. So you get a bigger image if you took 4 nodal point shot. So go ahead again, TIFF, 16-bit, no compression, and then go ahead and create the panel. Thank you for watching another super in-depth Pro Virtual Tour Masterclass. If you want to capture the absolute best HDR Virtual Tour photos, I would still recommend getting an expensive full-frame camera with a 7.5mm fisheye lens like the 7Artisans or TT-Artisans right here. If you are new at this, I would suggest you practice this tutorial over and over again before you upgrade to a full-frame sensor camera. The true power of this 7Artisans Super Fisheye lens is to use it to capture 8K 360 video. Before that, the professional is using RE Alexa or Sony Venice 2 with the Antenna How 220 lens to capture cinematic 360 video. By the way, this Sony Venice 2 Antenna setup video is coming soon. Stay tuned if you are a super high-end studio. This setup costs over 100,000 US dollar, crazily expensive. Now you can do the same thing with GH6 shot at open gate and this lens with less than 1,500 US dollar. If you want to watch that tutorial, leveling up your 360 video skill and make your image quality stand out from the crowd, don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and give me a big thumb up. I am very excited to simplify the Nodal 360 video workflow, get it up to 8.6K, and share all of this knowledge to you guys. I will be working during the holiday season on this. If you want the inside tips before that, or if you have any question regarding 360 Virtual Tour or 360 filmmaking, please DM me on Instagram. I will be more active there. So I will see you next time.